Yeah, man, that was hilarious. They were shook. You ever seen fear in a grown man that created fear on his own? You know what I mean? On his own, bro. All it took was my presence. Hey, who's that right there? Who's that in the white van? I'm talking about the foreman, bro. Who's in the white van right there? Are they with you? I go, nah, man. He goes, where's your car at? I'm like, look at him going. Then he goes, who are they? Who's that in the van? Bro, some tourists that pulled over. All white people, like you. What you so afraid of, man? Because your presence is so powerful, bro, that the accountability level, you know what I mean? His already co-worker starts with the S, already told the foreman, starts with the J, you know what I mean? That, I heard about the situation happened with P, about not paying, stuff like that, and walking out, and we can't do nothing about it. I should have went ahead and said like this, so what's your business name? You know what I mean? But he gave me who hired this particular person, because we got to end that whole entire situation in terms of like, nah, man, accountability, bro. You're not going to just keep dragging along and do this word of mouth situation and, encourage this type of behavior. You know what I mean? Like the person that hired the L or the P, you know what I mean? Is not responsible for the P's actions, but it's great for this person, starts with the M, to know what's going on in writing, so that way his mind and his heart is accountable, and you force accountability upon them by putting it in writing. You know what I mean? When I was on the site, the guy was so happy, the guy named M, he was so happy to talk to me and say, hey, relay this message. And he just met me. But he relayed a negative message to P. And I presented to her in just a neutral form. But he had a look on his face like he's tired of this person too. You know what I mean? For whatever reasons, But, that was my impression that I got. And I just met that dude right when he goes, hey, you work with P? I go, yeah, man, how you doing? My name is Peter Rico and all that good stuff. He goes, let her, when she comes in, tell her this. You know what I mean? And he was like, so I was feeling like, all right, man, this whole place is starting to get questionable now. But he's not responsible. A guy could hire a person and the group could be like, you know what? We get the job done, but little as you know, I paid 4 people, but 2 of the people I went ahead and disowned, and I'm gonna go ahead and just hustle them and never pay them. And I don't, and then P would have the response through text message saying, hey, you know what? I don't care about the repercussions. I don't need to prove nothing to you. Oh, okay, all right, cool. Because all my tech stuff is all professional and legal. You know what I mean? Anytime when you handle something like this, where you're a contractor or you're a new employee for something, go and figure out the truth of the matter of the business. Have them prove that the company is legit. Get the first and last name, get the business contact information. Don't just get started on the job and just assume that they're legit and genuine as you are. Because now when you pull up on the site, man, that was extreme paranoia. I'm going, what's going on? You guys okay? You know what I mean? He goes, yeah, I heard what happened to you with what's her name, but we can't do nothing about it. I go, I know. You know what I mean? I try to have her self-correct and this and that, but I got all the proof through text messages. You know what I mean? I go, but I need to know who hired her. Boom. The validity. He goes, you know what? I can't deny you, bro. I'm not going to give you his number, but I'll give you his site. You know what I'm saying? But these guys that are professional working with each other, you should not be that weak to prevent any access of information like that. Like, hey, here's his business card, here's his email, here's this and that. I worked with M for a long time. My name is Jay. You know what I mean? They should be legit. But once you start sensing that, obviously information is a privilege, but that whole idea of being paranoid when I pull up on a set, First of all, I came in there very open and presented in terms of smiling and no shades on and things like that. You know, this wasn't up. You know, I had a tank top on, so that way they could see. You know what I mean? Nothing. You know, don't be worried about anything. I don't care. I defense drive so far because I've been through these scenarios before. You know what I mean? I've been through job sites where men were just intimidated by me and feared me because I wasn't part of the gossip. I was strictly business. Business is power. They're intimidated by your potential. They want to try to like drag you down into Misery Loves Company and start talking about personal stuff. And they can't even handle business in the first place. Nah, you barely can handle business, man. We're only speaking on business. You have no right to talk about anything personal, you know what I mean, with me. Go find someone else. You know what I mean? You know, so anyways, yeah, so it's kind of like a experience where you feel like, you mean to tell me everybody's just applying something like this in a way that doesn't seem to stand up and genuine? It's all right, you know what I mean? You know, that's how you gotta perform. And the basis of that is based on how paranoid that dude was. You know what I mean? So the guy tried to give me eye contact from the beginning as I walked through the whole entire entryway. You know what I mean? And I go, hey, you remember me? I go, yeah, I work with P for this company and this and that. And he goes, oh, yes, I feel bad for you. Steve told me, S told me about it, you know. And I go, well, look, I need to send you an email. You know what I mean? You know, he goes, man, I can't do nothing about it. I go, don't you want to know the details? It's on your site. Don't you want to know? What's wrong with an email? You know? He's like, I go, well, let me get the... Now this guy's just like, hey, who's that van over there? Why is that van right there? That white van. Is that your car? No, that's not my car. Where's your car at? I have no business where my car's at, bro. You know what I mean? Who's that? Do you know them? I go, bro. Dude, Jay. Acronym for his name. That is like extreme paranoia. I'm not sharing this with them. I'm just observing this guy. And he's not alone. He's with his people. You know, he got a guy that I talked to. We're busting up and cracking up. Now he's on silent mode, which is all good. Everyone can respect people's privacy, you know what I mean? But, you know, say if someone wasn't able to get paid because a person wants to dodge him, you know what I mean? And he has all this proof of work and validation and everything like that, you know? They should be a little in cooperation in terms of like, hey, you know what? I understand what's going on. This is the number to call, get a hold of them, send an email, and boom. Because you know why I would give that information? Because I'll allow that person to either come correct or come foul. That way there's a record of everything. What if the guy that, you know, you gave him the number, and now he emails M and emails P, you know what I mean? He emails J, you know, and he starts talking crazy. Well, that's good because now you got a reason for, man, this guy is insane. You know what I mean? He's talking crazy in the email. You know what I mean? It's like proof of the, but nah, man. I told him my whole situation is extremely honorable. There's not even a personal conversation that she can even talk about because I did everything through text. You know what I mean? Everything through text. So she can't even say like, oh, he said this, said that. But it's so crazy for her verbally to tell me, hey, come up to this function. And I know you don't know my sister, so I gotta share it with you guys. You know what I mean? But she'll take you home. What? Nope. I ain't even going to that place. And plus, your sister ain't taking me nowhere. You know what I mean? I don't know who your sister is. You know what I mean? Take me home. I didn't even ask for you no ride. So you mean to tell me you trust me and love me so much to validate my work and you want me to continue, but you won't tell me your last name or prove your business? But you want your sister to take me home? Man, this is all a big, like, you got a defense drive around all that. So you got to keep it super professional. I don't care if you're on an island or feeling so comfortable. It's a bunch of family all praying together. And like, hey, yeah, we're all working. You know, it's all relatives on the site. So you're thinking, oh, man, this is pretty legit. They're not going to run off on me and burn me. You know what I mean? They will. You know what I mean? Because it's all about, you know, like that inner misery that you're going to uncover through experience that people possess within themselves, you know what I mean? And a lot of that, their actions lead to a lot of illegal activity. you know. But yeah, that was a trip, man. When I went hollered at S yesterday at the same spot, he was cool. You know what I mean? He was solid. You know what I mean? But Jay, the foreman guy, questionable. Why was that guy so paranoid? Proves to you that gossip will reign, man. Why was he so paranoid? You know what I mean? When I stepped on the scene, you know, paranoid, you know, like he's wondering because the car pulled up in front, it got nothing to do with me. And then as he watched, he goes, "Oh, those are tourists." I'm looking at him going, "Bro, what's going on? I got everything in here in writing. There's no gossip. Everything's honorable. I just want to set the stage on this guy to eliminate his fear, you know, or his paranoia. Like, be at ease, man. We're handling business, professional business, and I'm genuine, and I'll prove it. So whatever. That's why I wanted him to. That's why I wanted to email him as well. But he didn't want to give me that. He didn't even give me his name or the company information. But I'll get that later. It don't matter. Everyone's gonna get an email no matter what. You know what I mean? You know. It's not gonna change the world. It's not gonna say, oh, everyone's gonna, you know, be completely genuine by the book and by the code and all this and that. It's not gonna do anything. But it's gonna be in their conscience and heart that they can't get over. Because people out here do care about the next person they may try to hustle and scam. And definitely, L is going to get reported big time. So, ain't nothing about that. That's a guarantee. You know, and the money will be coming back. You know, but this is just a little process. But, you know, always be professional, always be genuine, and make sure you don't have no private conversations on the side with no female owner or female person that playing a role as an employer or hiring or none of that. Have everything out in the open. And even if she throws you an emoji kiss and stuff like that, man, ignore all that. Actually tell her that's disrespectful to your husband and disrespectful to me. So cut it out. I'm professional. You know what I mean? That's you know. So there's nothing they could say. There's nothing they could say that's a form of like, oh, that could be a negative upon my character. Nothing. Because I got a bunch of praises through text messages and in person, but who cares what they say? It's better to have it in writing. Text messages is in writing. That's the writing, you know what I mean? You know, and I could prove it all, screenshot, show you the whole phone. You know, so that already is a big pass, a big yes for my situation. You know, but if I don't went ahead and not been professional, they could lean all that against me and say, and make up anything. So you don't allow gossip to rule any situation by presenting yourself. I'm so generous and honest, I'll prove any slander upon my name. You know what I mean? I'll disprove it. You know what I mean? Right now. You know? Because why would anyone be paranoid? You know what I mean? Especially the foreman, bro. He's supposed to be seasoned in the game. You know what I mean? Whether he's straight legit or slightly, you know, whatever. But why would he be paranoid? Any cop, any detective, anybody would be like, yeah, that was interesting. Why was he so paranoid? You know what I mean? Like, wondering where's your car at, who pulled up, because you just walked up on the site to discuss business with them, you know? So that's why I had to initiate the idea, like, whatever your gossip is that you won't even share with me, I'm going to set you at ease and tell you this. I'm honorable. I'm genuine. This is what happened. It's all in writing on my behalf. I never had a personal conversation with her outside of this place. I always had it around her relatives and a bunch of girls and her people that she hired and stuff like that. So I never had no private conversations with her. It was always amongst other people. So there, I protected myself there. Now through text, this same person is willing to lie big time in the role of an employer, in the role of an owner, violating employment laws, violating my employee rights, and just straight slandering and accuse me to the level of, you got a background criminal investigation against me that's negative, which I don't have no record, so I want a copy of that. But she won't even bring that to the table. So it's a bunch of slander, a bunch of lies through the text message, which already wins me big time. But my goal is to prevent this from ever happening to anyone else, and that's how you bang that aloha, hogging that fat, top, bona, give what money can't buy for life.